Hello, my name is Jinzhe Tan. I'm currently a PhD candidate at the University of Montreal under the supervision of Professor Kain Benyeklev. And I also served as a research assistant at the Cyber Justice Laboratory. My research area is artificial intelligence and law. Specifically, I study how to use technology to assess the legal systems through a techno-legal perspective, and also how the law could respond to the technological intervention through a social-legal perspective. I'm deeply honored to receive the Bourse d'Excellence de la Chaire Wilson. The Wilson Scholarship is dedicated to supporting students who focus their research on digital norms and digital rights. So my own research focuses on enhancing judicial autonomy using artificial intelligence. To conduct this research, we first need to understand how human mind works. Drawing on Daniel Kahneman's systematic division, human mind could be divided into system 1 and system 2. System 1 means fast, automatic reasoning. System 2 means logical, effortful reasoning. In our judicial system, of course, we want our judges to reason with their system 2. But the reality is more complicated than that. I aim to address two critical problems currently facing global legal systems. The access crisis, as many scholars have argued and proved, justice is out of reach for millions of people. For ordinary citizens, the legal system often like a maze. There are government websites, statutes, legislations, and procedural forms. In Canada, statistics shows that 50% of Canadians will encounter one difficult legal issues in their life, and there are only 7% of them will use the court system to resolve their issue. Those unresolved issues leads to a tremendous cost for Canadian society. Approximately $746 million was wasted annually in Canada alone. At the individual level, the self-represented litigant will also face temporal, monetary, and psychological costs. On the other end of the spectrum, there are the integrity crises. Legal realism and behavioral analysis of law have provided tremendous evidence to show that judicial decision-making isn't always purely logical. Judges, like every other human, are affected by cognitive bias and extra-legal factors, such as anchoring bias, representative bias, and confirmation bias. You may have heard hungry judge effect. That's the most famous example in this research area, even though the research itself facing several controversy in recent years. But the message delivered through the field is clear. Judicial autonomy is affected by many extra-legal factors, and we need to be aware of those extra-legal factors, understand our own decision deficits so that we can make sure we make a better decision. In my research, I will use 3 case studies to explore how can we use AI to enhance the situation. To solve these issues, my research proposed a framework where AI acts as a mirror. The first role of the mirror is mirroring, which means the AI can replicate part of the human reasoning process, part of our ability to make legal information provision, dispute resolution process more accessible. And second function of the mirror is reflection. We can use the mirror as a tool to help us understand ourselves, to enhance our decision capability and quality. So, the first case study of my research is JusticeBot. JusticeBot is an online legal information provision tool developed by researchers at the Cyber Justice Laboratory. It was designed to provide legal information related to housing dispute in Quebec. It adopts an expert system approach, aiming to provide accurate legal information. While LLMs like ChatGPT are powerful and intuitive, our research found out that they are not yet accurate enough to provide legal information directly to lay people due to problems like hallucinations. However, we can use LLM to build tools like JusticeBot. We developed a framework using GPT-4 to extract logical representation from complex legislation. And those logical representation could be used in JusticeBot as a legal pathway. In this case, we are using the reasoning capability of LLM, but get rid of the risk of providing inaccurate legal information. In our second case study, AI Mediator, we explore AI-assisted dispute resolution. In many dispute parties might find it's very difficult to solve the dispute by themselves due to emotional language, due to lack of clarity of evidence and situations. Intermediaries like mediator, arbitrator could help a lot in this process. They can help dispute parties to identify what's happened in the dispute, calm down the tension, and propose solutions. The AI mediator using GPT-4 to assess not only mediators but also dispute parties for them to get a better result. One of its most effective features is reformulating inappropriate language or biased messages into neutral, constructive language. Our research found that in 84% of the case, LLM-generated mediation message was rated as equal or better than human-drafted interventions. LLM provide greater clarity and more consistent tone, often identifying misunderstandings that human missed. As we described before, the second role of AI is reflection, or using AI to understand ourselves. Instead of just mimicking strengths, we use AI's inherent bias to better understand human societal patterns. So we turn the bad part of the AI into the good part. The third case study is a benchmark we developed, which is named Legal Bias Bench. In Legal Bias Bench, we developed a large-scale dataset to evaluate cognitive bias in judicial decision-making. We evaluate the performance of LLM and also humans. We identify several parts that LLM aligns well with human mind, and some other part LLMs act differently with human. We are aiming to use LLM to run large-scale social simulation so that we can audit human cognition. AI can reveal patterns of biases, such as biases that are never known before. By swapping variables in simulated case, we can ask a judge, would you have decided the same if the situation is different? Through this approach, we didn't replace judges in the judicial decision-making process, but using simulated cases to help judges understand that they might have some unknown biases in their decision-making process. So that we can use AI as a tool to enhance judicial autonomy. Through this approach, the AI doesn't replace judges. It provides them with a tool for reflection to enhance their own autonomy and fairness. In conclusion, my research argues that AI should not replace judges. Instead, it should empower them and the citizens they serve. By improving access to legal information and access to dispute resolution services through tools like JusticeBot and AI Mediator, we can prevent dispute and reduce the caseload of the courtroom. By using AI as a reflective tool like what we did in Legal Bias Bench, we can help humans acknowledge and mitigate their own biases. The takeaway of my work is that the human has to stay central. AI is a distorting mirror. It can reflect part of our cognition, but cannot reflect all of it. So we cannot rely on AI to do everything in our judicial system, but we can learn about ourselves from it. By using AI to lower caseload and help judges acknowledge their own biases, we preserve legal autonomy and sustain the legitimacy of fair process. Thank you very much for your time.